third and final race of the weekend here for the BRSCC Mazda MX-5 Championship, and we have Adam Bessel on pole position, Will Blackwell-Chambers close behind him, and starting right behind is John Langridge. Now I have a sneaky feeling that John Langridge is going to be giving it all in this race, so Andy, I'd love to see what you think.
Well, Lyndsay, I think you're absolutely right, because he's lost some big points to his big rival Blackwell-Chambers in both of the first two races. He really could do with redressing that in this final race of the weekend. Adam Bessel, after his first victory, is on pole position, with Will Blackwell-Chambers alongside, then John Langridge and Ben Short, with Steve Foden, Jason Greatrex, Jack Brewer and Lewis Cannon next in line, with Scott Mansell and Ollie Allwood rounding out the top 10. But yeah, this is a crucial race, this, for John Langridge, and in a way Ben Short, because Ben Short, whilst he salvaged that podium place after Langridge is off in race one, it hasn't been a superb weekend this for Ben Short by any stretch. Been a little further off the pace than we're accustomed to seeing him. So keep an eye to both Langridge and Short, who share the second row on this grid, to both try and do something about Blackwell-Chambers. So one win apiece this weekend for Blackwell-Chambers and Adam Bessel, who will win the third and final race of the weekend here at Anglesey, getting ready for the red lights to go out in bright and sunny conditions now, finally here at the coastal circuit. Away we go, and Blackwell-Chambers this time does make a good start. Bessel down to second already, with Ben Short trying to get alongside on the run towards the first corner, on board with Martin Tolley. Ahead of us is Joe Wiggin, who, perhaps unsurprisingly, won the B race earlier on today and got promoted back onto the A grid and is already trying to make some ground. Martin Tolley was second in that race, and Charles Mugglestone was third. Bryn Griffiths and Nicola Doyen also progressed from the B grid, as Adam Bessel is about to lose second place here, I think, to Ben Short as they go through Church Corner. This very high-speed right-hander, onto the back straight they go, and is Bessel off the podium perhaps? No, he's still third, but I think Jason Greatrex is fourth. So where is Langridge? He's sixth. John Langridge has dropped down to sixth position here at the start. Not a good start to proceedings for John as they scrabble around for free track under braking, and Adam Bessel goes around the outside and Ben Short is sideways. Oh, Ben Short spins in front of the pack miraculously. He is avoided by everybody else. There is contact as other people try to avoid him, but Ben Short and John Langridge delayed in all of that. They are both well down the order, and that is real drama for our two championship contenders, and this hands a firm advantage once again to the man who clearly is carrying a lucky horseshoe in his car, Will Blackwell-Chambers. He escapes the trouble and I think has held on to the race lead on board with Langridge. Didn't actually quite spot how he got delayed in all of that, but he definitely did get delayed, because he's down towards the back of the top 10 now. Look, in fact, he hasn't even appeared into shot yet, so a real change around in the order here on the opening lap of race 3A, as it has all started to kick off well and truly. Through the hairpin we go. Blackwell-Chambers leads the way, Bessel is second, Foden third, and Jack Brewer is into fourth position. Now, if he can hang on to a top 5, that, I believe, would be his first ever, his second top 5. He had a 5th place in race 3 at Cadwell Park. He's not finished in the top 4 before, though, and he's certainly not had a podium before. Onto the brakes through the final corner, then on board now with number 74, Clive Chisnall. There's cars on the grass, there are cars sideways, they're 3 abreast towards the first corner. Oliver Graham that was bouncing his way back on road. This is a standard Mazda MX-5 Championship race, and it is thoroughly entertaining to watch, but not so much if your name is John Langridge or Ben Short. They really have some work to do now. Still on board with Chisnall as they go through the hairpin. Now there is Langridge, and Short 2 places behind him there, the first of these white and red cars. There he goes, number 71. The BS Motorsport driver turns through Church Corner. Back with Charles Mugglestone now from the back of the grid, having got on the podium in that B race earlier on. And he got promoted onto the back of this A grid for the final time, and he pulls up alongside Nicola Doyen, who finished 5th in race 2B. And therefore joined Mugglestone on the back of the A grid. And there's a car on the grass in front of him that could be big. Oh, across the track, I think that was Jack Moody. And miraculously, I think he was avoided by everybody, but that was a very scary moment. We've seen big accidents there in the past in this championship, caused by very similar situations, and that could have been an awful lot worse. So down the hill comes Steve Foden. He's starting to slip backwards now. Look, Jack Brewer's gone through, so has Ollie Allwood, and I think also going through was Lewis Cannon there around the outside. So Jack Brewer is now into 3rd position. Jack Brewer, maybe he could get his first ever podium here. He's into 3rd place. We've been sort of so focused on some of the big hitters running further down the order, we almost forgot about the leaders. There's Joe Wiggin, meanwhile, at the inside of Adam Craig. And there's someone else there to the right-hand side of shot. That's Ali Bray. And Tom Smith, the number 91 machine, also joining in the fun, on board with Martin Tolley. He's just behind that group. Charged up through the gears. Martin, who has the record, not a record he'll be that proud of, but it is the record for the most driving or track limits penalties handed out over the years, but he is one of the most experienced drivers on the grid. Through turn one they go then, and Tolly at the back of this big pack of cars, being headed now by Lewis Cannon and Jason Greytrex. So Steve Bone really has lost out here. Again, different lines are taken under braking for the banked right-hander. John Langridge there, number 5, has still got number 72, Scott Mansell, behind him. And then Ben Short trying to go around the outside of him. How's that all going to work out? They stay in the same order. Langridge now tries to get up the inside of Seb Fisher, but again, to no avail through Church Corner. It's been a dramatic race this already, and what else does it have in store for us now? We're about a third of the way through already, and still lots of questions to be answered here, particularly with regards to Langridge and Short, who are not carving their way up the order yet. Onto the brakes through Rocket they go. He's now up the inside of Fisher, is Langridge. He's gone through, and it looks like Ben Short's trying to go up the inside of Scott Mansell as well at the second part of Rocket, which he will succeed in doing. Gives him the inside line then for Peel Corner. And the BS Motorsport car will go through. BS Motorsport, Ben Short's team, knows how to set these cars up as well as drive them, but unfortunately got tagged in the tail going through Rocket and ended up losing all of those positions. As I said, I'm not entirely sure how Langridge ended up getting caught up in that, but he certainly did, and now as a result they're both very much in the same position now, trying to regain lost ground. Not the first time these two have been in this situation either. Langridge went off in race 1 after contact with Lewis Cannon. Ben Short started at the back in race 1. At the front of the field, though, it is the battle of the blue and white cars again. Will Blackwell Chambers and Adam Bessel, who finished this way around in race 1. Then in race 2, Bessel won with Blackwell Chambers second. And now it's the decider anyway, because they've checked out from everybody else. There's Brewer third, 4th Allwood, 5th Cannon, 6th Greytrex, 7th Bowden, 8th Langridge, 9th Fisher and 10th for Ben Short, as they reel across the line almost quicker than you can say them. Once again, here you can see everyone having someone to race with right up and down the order, including at the very sharp end, where Adam Bessel is doing his best here to stay with Blackwell Chambers. Now, we heard Adam referring after his previous race, where he took that victory, to the fact that he was on fresh tyres in this race, or this weekend, I should say. You don't necessarily have to replace these tyres after every event. They're fairly durable, but clearly there is a slight performance advantage for a new set of tyres. So Bessel maybe has saved up some pennies. He's bought himself a new set of rubber, and it's definitely paying dividends this weekend. Through the Rocket Complex again, Blackwell Chambers, without the need for new rubber though, has been quick all year long, and really is proving tough to beat now. He's definitely starting to eke out this points advantage, both an outright points advantage and a points advantage on dropped scores. Remember, they dropped their worst 3 scores, and Blackwell Chambers has had a wonderfully consistent season, with the one exception being that non-finish at Pembrey. Although in fairness, it wasn't a brilliant start to the year, was it, for Blackwell Chambers? 6th in race 1 at Brands Hatch. He was only on the podium once at Brands Hatch, in fact, the season opener, and that was in the second race, the race in which he tangled with John Langridge. So he'd rather forget, I'm sure, about the Brands Hatch races in a way. It really was Pembrey where things started to gain some momentum before that non-finish in the final race. And then 2 victories at Cadwell Park last time out was when he really started to find his feet again, show the performances that we've seen many times in the past from Blackwell Chambers. A very, very regular race winner. Forward again with Martin Tolley now as the race leader. There he is, Blackwell Chambers, the man himself, turns through the first corner onto another lap. Adam Bessel still in his wheel tracks though, not letting him escape. And a bit like we saw in race 1, there are certain parts of the circuit that Bessel seems to really excel at. One of those places definitely being the final sector. He's very strong through there. Blackwell Chambers then feeling the pressure going into the first part of the next lap, but really the place you need to be quick is this corner, Church Corner. A good exit from here, a nice slipstream up the hill, and that leads you into the best overtaking opportunity on the circuit, which is the Rocket Complex. Bessel is closing in the tow. Is he going to be close enough to have a go though, I wonder? Will he look to the inside line? No, because Blackwell Chambers was just moving over to cover. So Bessel, being sensible about this, knows that he doesn't really have a championship to worry about here. Necessarily worth the do-or-die lunge therefore. But if the chance presents itself throughout the remaining just over half of the race, no doubt about it, he will go for it. Through Peel, down towards the Rocket Complex again, car number 4, Adam Bessel. Still applying the pressure. Look at the gap they've got back to Jack Brewer. In fact, there's no one else in sight there as they turn through the tight left-hander. then opens up on the exit of the corner. There is Brewer, the yellow and red car in the background. Not really able, though, to go with these two for the time being. Through the hairpin. Good exit there for Bessel as he starts now to build up another challenge. This final sector, he's got really good traction, and now that we know that he's on fresher tyres this weekend, that would make sense. That's where you really rely on the mechanical grip. In the background, meanwhile, they're 3 abreast, and this all involves Langridge and Short on their fight back up the order, which is not really taking them anywhere just yet. I think John Langridge has finally got up the inside of Steve Foden here, and he's going ahead of him, and Ben Short's going to be determined to follow him if he can. Short is up the inside there, the white and red car, and goes through as well. So they've both gained one more position, but that is the first position they've gained since we last checked in with them. Poor old Steve Foden, meanwhile, that's opened the floodgates. Seb Fisher is going through now, and so too Matt Pollard, potentially. But finally, Foden finds himself on the inside line for a corner at banking. And it's Pollard on the outside who loses out in the end to Scott Mansell. So, again, goes to show how quickly your fortunes can change. He tried to stay on the outside of Mansell and then got shown the edge of the road. Ducks back in line now, just ahead of number 54, Marcus Bailey, who's had a fairly consistent weekend so far here at Anglesey. Here they go then, into the braking zone again at Rocket, and Langridge looking up the inside of Lewis Cannon. Couldn't do it there though, and now he's got Ben Short right on his tail. There are no cars between them anymore. At this stage of the race, I think Ben is going to be fairly content just to work with John Langridge rather than work against him and race each other. It's not really worth it when they're only fighting for a position towards the back of the top 10. Right now, they are unofficial teammates as they try to get past as many of these cars as they can. Lewis Cannon, the next one though, and he's not going to be easy to overtake. We know that he's got good speed this weekend. Oh, Ben Short on the grass there as he comes out of the tight left-hander. More cars running wide behind. Langridge weaving outside, inside, late on the brakes. Is there a gap? There is. Can he get into that gap? He can't. Just a touch too far back then was Langridge, but he wanted to go for it straight away if he could. But motorsport car runs down the hill towards the final turn. There's another slipstream being given here. Can he get to the inside? I think he can. Is he late enough on the brakes this time? Yes, he is. And so John Langridge with a textbook out-braking move there. Used the toe nicely, just as he did to Steve Foden a lap ago, and just as happened to Foden a lap ago, with Cannon on the outside line, he could lose 3 or 4 places here. Short goes through, Seb Fisher tries to do likewise, but no, only 2 places lost for Cannon on this occasion. Seb Fisher is denied. Langridge now has a bit of clean air to use to try and bridge the gap to the next cars in front. And you get a point for fastest lap as well in this championship. Will Blackwell Chambers scored the fastest lap in the previous race, so that's another bonus point for him. It was actually Jack Brewer in the opening race of the weekend who scored the fastest lap, despite the fact he only finished down in 12th position as the track dried though. He was going quickly, and now in 3rd position in this race. Brewer going fairly quickly again, not quite as quick as Blackwell Chambers is, who's got the fastest lap point in this one at the moment. Ollie Allwood and Jason Greytrex there in a private battle for 4th, and they are the next 2 targets for Langridge and Short, who are maybe a second or so further back at this stage. These two, they're not really tripping over each other, so unless they really start setting to it, they're not likely to be caught all that quickly. Over the hill again. Greytrex having a strong run here, actually. His best finish of the weekend so far. He's been 6th in both of the previous 2 races, so he's on for his first top 5 at the moment, but he won't be particularly happy to see Langridge and Short appearing in his mirrors, as they are likely to be getting ever larger in his mirrors as well over the next few laps. Get a view there of the very picturesque setting here. We are literally perched on top of a cliff edge overlooking the very blue Irish Sea today. Wasn't so blue yesterday though, when it was pretty damp and miserable, but on a nice sunny day there are few places more enjoyable to spend your weekend than the De Croix Anglesey circuit. Not been a particularly happy venue for John Langridge or arguably Ben Short, but they are now starting to pull away from this big queue of cars. There's Joe Wiggin, he's part of that group as well. Adam Craig just behind being shown his pit board. Jason Greytrex then, can he do anything here about Ollie Allwood, and are they catching Jack Brewer? Well, fractionally, not as much as they might like. So despite the fact they seem to be working together, these two, they're not really gaining any ground on the 3rd place car in front. And in fact, on the previous lap, he was quicker than them. So it looks as though Brewer, barring any mistakes here or problems, could be on for his first ever podium. What of fourth on backwards though, because these two still engaged in a private tussle for the time being. Being caught by those two, look, Langridge and Short, who likewise are definitely working together at this stage. If it gets to the last lap and they've not caught these two, then I'm sure Short will have a go at taking what is 6th place away from Langridge. But until that point, as I said, they're going to do their best to try and help each other out to catch the two cars in front of them. I don't think the podium is possible for either of them, but they could well get themselves into the top 5. There you can see how that gap's coming down now. Sideways over the curbs there for, well, both Allwood and Great Trex, really. And then further back, Steve Foden, look, going up the inside of Lewis Cannon. This is for 8th position, and Lewis Cannon, there's not much he's going to be able to do there on the outside. He's really concerned about getting back in line before Seb Fisher gets alongside. Gets a bit sideways on the exit of the corner, and he will be able to hang on. Back on board with Langridge. Looking back at Ben Short, who, well, now, that surprises me. Ben Short going for the move, takes 6th place away. Now, either he believes that they're not going to catch the two cars in front of them, which I disagree with. I think they will if they keep working together. Or maybe Ben Short thinks that they'll be quicker with him in front. If he believes that he is the faster of the two, then maybe having him as the lead car, they might be able to set quicker lap times. We'll watch that with interest. Meanwhile, Seb Fisher and Lewis Cannon still doing battle further down the road with 54 Marcus Bailey and 55 Matt Pollard, the next two in tow. Steve Foden getting away from this group now, having found a way past Seb Fisher. One false move here, and you're going to lose 3 or 4 positions at least. Joe Wiggin is also catching them. Look, the black and pink car. This will be, I think I'm right in saying, no, it won't be the first weekend that he's not been on the podium. He just missed out on the podium at Cadwell Park, where he had a best finish of 5th in race 1 and then a 6th in race 2. Before getting involved in Smargy Bargy in the 3rd and final race, but up to that point, Joe Wiggin had been one of the most consistent drivers in the championship. Definite race winner at some point this year, I would say, Joe Wiggin. Not yet taken the winner's silverware, but he's got the speed to do it. He'll write off Anglesey now as a weekend to forget well and truly. But he'll bounce back next time, I'm sure. Let's see how many more places he can gain before the flag falls then. He'll be helped by the fact that Lewis Cannon, look, is driving defensively here, trying to keep Marcus Bailey at bay. That will hold up that whole queue of cars and allow Joe Wiggin to get a bit closer to them. Pollard again, quicker. Sorry, not Pollard. Bailey quicker off the hairpin there than Lewis Cannon. Pulls alongside, but it's the outside line into the final turn. Don't think he's going to be able to do it there either. So, again, the Anglesey circuit not proving to be the easiest of places to overtake. You can run very close together with the slipstream, but tricky sometimes to actually execute the move. Cannon turns through the first corner, target corner, through the banking again. Great spectator vantage point up there as well. There are lots of spectators here enjoying the Sunday afternoon sunshine. Wherever you go in the Anglesey circuit, you can see quite a lot of it as well. So it's definitely worth the trek out here. Fairly easy drive out to Anglesey, particularly from the north of the country, but it is a rather remote location. But what a location it is! Looking out over the Snowdonia mountain range as well off in the distance. Again, the driver's not really focusing on the scenery too much right now. The only scenery they're interested in is the car that is blocking their view of it in front of them. In this occasion, it's Lewis Cannon, who is rather in the way of Marcus Bailey. At least Marcus will tell you that anyway. Cannon will say that he's defending magnificently, which he is in fairness. There's been no way through for the time being for either of those two cars, or any of those 3 cars really behind, because Scott Mansell is right with Matt Pollard and Marcus Bailey. As I've alluded to, Joe Wiggin is getting ever closer as well. Be a circuit that Joe has a huge amount of experience at though, but he's a quick pedaler and he's not really catching them on this lap though actually, so I do wonder whether maybe there's some sort of a handling imbalance for Wiggin or maybe some underlying issue with the car. He didn't qualify too well either yesterday, so may well be that Wiggin's just got some issues going on there inside the car. No issues at all though for Will Blackwell Chambers, who comes through onto his final lap of the weekend. I won't say he's fully shaken off Adam Bessel, but certainly Adam is not that close that he'll be of particular concern to Blackwell Chambers on this, the last lap. looks as though win number 5 of the season may be beckoning, and this is now starting to become a habit for Will Blackwell Chambers, a habit that he will be very keen to keep for the rest of the season. And this applies the pressure now to the rest, particularly Langridge and Short, to come back stronger next time and try and take some victories away from him. Because Blackwell Chambers, if he does take this victory, he will have won 4 of the last 6 races. He did the double at Cadwell Park last time out, before Langridge beat him to the victory in race number 3. And of course he won yesterday here in Anglesey, second in race 2. He's not really losing that many points. He was second in race 2, but set the fastest lap. So essentially that was like scoring the race winning points. And then in this one, he's got the fastest lap to boot as well. So he's really not dropping that many points this weekend. And with Langridge and Short likely at the moment to finish outside the top 5, they're not really catching Ollie Allwood and Jason Greatrex as quickly as they'd like. This has been a really significant weekend, this, for Will Blackwell Chambers. And if at the end of the season he is lifting the championship trophy once again, I think he'll look back at this weekend as the big turning point, really, where he put in a almost perfect performance and his rivals failed to do so. And with now just one more corner to go before he sees the flag, Will Blackwell Chambers looks as though he is going to come home a victor for the 5th time this season, after a slightly shaky start to the year, with just the 1 victory coming from the first 6 races. In the last 6, he's won over half of them, and the 5th win of the season will indeed go to Will Blackwell Chambers. 2 wins from 3 at Anglesey. I think he's rather happy with that. Adam Bessel as well, 2 second places and a maiden race victory. A good weekend for him as well. 3rd is Brewer, 4th place then for Ollie Allwood, with Greatrex 5th. And crucially there, Ben Short got ahead of John Langridge there on the final lap to take 6th place away. So Short does get a couple more points than Langridge. How crucial could that prove to be at the end of the year? So the victory then goes to Blackwell Chambers, Bessel 2nd, then Brewer, Allwood and Greatrex to round out the top 5. Then Short, John Langridge, Seb Fisher, Lewis Cannon unfortunately dropped to 9th position in the end with a post-race penalty. And rounding out the top 10, number 54, Marcus Bailey. Ali Bray was a non-finisher. Steve Foden was disqualified from the result by the clerk of the course. But this weekend most definitely belongs to Will Blackwell Chambers.
Will, back on the top step for the 3rd and final round today. How was it?
It was a hard race. We're still trying to get to grips with the new tyres. So Adam, I think, was on a better tyre pressure for the first 2/3 of the race and was keeping me very, very honest and was a little bit nice to me, probably. Luckily for the last third, my tyres stayed on, his went off, so I was able to pull a bit of a gap. But incredibly hard race. I believe there's a bit of contact behind me, which meant some of my championship rivals haven't done quite as well. So really sorry for them, but at the same time quite happy for me. So no, it's been an absolutely fantastic weekend.
Adam, congratulations, podium again. How was that race for you?
Yeah, great. Will's tyres didn't come on at the beginning, and then I think mine were really good at the beginning. I think I could have took it to him, but we had another agreement where whoever was in front, we'd use each other to push forward, and then and I just had nothing left at the end, and Will's tyres seemed a lot better than mine, so I just couldn't keep up, unfortunately.
Jack, a huge congratulations. First podium.
I know, can't believe it. Just like to say thank you to Tucker Motorsport, Ice Driver, High Road Marketing and EPTA Projects for supporting me throughout all of it. And a massive thank you to my dad, just stood behind me because he's built the car and just done the best job building it. It's been brilliant. So I'm, over the moon.